Glasses. Hey everybody!
Hello.
Make sure you say hello when you jump on if you see this. Well, actually, you're not going to see this part because nobody's on, so the replay.
Yeah, if you're on YouTube, go ahead and, just stomp that like button. Kill it,
Smash that like button.
And
make
just
sure you subscribe.
Spam the chats down below. And Jake Snaker's watching.
Hey, Snaker.
Jake Snaker.
And, make sure you hit the little bell on YouTube so that you get the notifications of when we have some new videos on. So.
And subscribe.
And subscribe. Share with your loved ones. If we're talking about something and you're like, you know who needs to hear this?
Yes.
Jake Snaker needs to hear this.
Jake Snaker loves this. So anyway, the title today is Chillin' with Breens.
I'm Breens.
Because we're out chilling. It's cold out.
It's just chilly.
Welcome, Sasha.
Hey, Sasha. So let me tell you this funny story before you get started. When Matthew and I first met, there were a lot of synchronicities of, I don't know, there was a lot of things in common that we had where I'm like, you remind me of someone ever. And then one thing he did was he called me Breenie. And that's like a family nickname. No friends have ever called me Breenie. No, only my family ever has. And when he called me Breenie, I was like, how'd you know that? Like, nobody's ever nicknamed Sabrina.
She didn't know I could read minds back at that age yet. I was using my mental powers.
Hey, Sasha, good to see you.
So we leave it open-ended. We don't really have an agenda, but we know that, God has an agenda. And so let's just open it up that way. It is our intention today that whatever God wants to reveal and made known, we'll stumble upon it.
Literally.
Just like we always do.
Actually, really what the reason is I said, oh, it's sunny and beautiful. This is a great day to go for a walk. So here we are, really. Because it's sunny and beautiful.
And we're trying to get with you every Sunday and Wednesday just for live streaming. And I was going through this book right here. This is, in fact, if you go to MatthewDavidHurtado.com, I have the Luxor training. I think it's a good time to revisit Luxor.space, LUXUR.SPACE. Not now, because we're live, but if you want to just revisit some good stuff. And I have 6 of these books left. And so, yeah, just 6 of them left.
Just 6?
That's it.
That's it.
And if you want to contact Breenie, and if you cover the price of shipping, I would gladly give you one of these as a gift and give you a signature on it for the first.
Whoa!
For the first 6 people that contact Breenie, but she's busy right now, so you can't reach her right now.
Well, you can reach me right now, but I'm not going to get back with you until after we're done.
You have to get in our group at Hurtado.io. That's our private Facebook group where we do these lives.
Which we're live right now on that group, so you're watching this wondering, wait, what?
Well,
we're just addressing the YouTubers because we got quite a few people who only do YouTube. Actually, a lot of people, and you might be one of them, of
well, you're too late if you only do YouTube.
Contemplating jumping off of Facebook or getting off of certain social media platforms. So in the past, we've learned that you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. So if you have everything in one medium, all of a sudden that can disappear, just like did.
Sasha's got one. He said he's taking one. So
awesome.
So yeah, I'll sign it for you and send it off. So I was looking at some of my old material and I'm going through it and measuring up to how it holds up to now time, now space where I'm at. And one thing you can say for sure is I'm definitely not a fundamentalist. And sometimes I get people calling me out and they're like, you're not a real gospel teacher. I'm like, well,
never claimed to
what
be.
Are you? Are you a real gospel teacher? How do you know? How do you know that what you're teaching is like anywhere near the absolute truth? In fact, most of the religions in the world trajectory are so far from the truth that they couldn't possibly get any further out.
And isn't anything you even know about what Jesus came and said and did a little bit more along the lines of your rebellious nature than, like, Jesus didn't come and say, hey, come together and form a religion based around what I'm teaching you.
Well, a perfect example is this. There was a challenge that someone put out and they were trying to disprove Neville Goddard's teaching that, Christ is the living imagination. and they ended up discovering it was true. And so a lot of the fundamentalists are out looking for a man to show up on the planet again. But if you go back to the ancient Gnostic Gospels, it said, woe unto you that have seen the Son of Man. See, human error and human ignorance is always in a separate reality as opposed to the kingdom that is at hand. And so we want to find the kingdom that's at hand and live in that space. And I think that takes me to the technique that I've been working on. Remember, it's called the perfect timing. Mm-hmm. So what I want to do is I want to use it on someone who's not using it all the time, which is you, Sabrina. And I want you to do it. And I want you to, I'm going to teach you how to do it. And you guys are watching can do it too. Because I want to show you how to disrupt what you would call the continuation of the evidence of the material 5 cents claim. Okay, now imagine this. Imagine you're walking in a dream, but you don't know it's a dream.
Like row your boat?
Yeah, gently down the stream. But imagine that you're stuck in the matrix and you have no clue what's real and what's not. So here's how you can create a ripple where you can alter the fabric of that DNA that you call material reality. What do you think about that?
I think that's awesome.
All right, I'm
ready.
If you guys want to play with it, let's do it. Okay, so the first thing we do is we just recognize that when we perceive a problem...
Go down there, look at. Just kidding.
No.
But first, before we do this, can you guys hear me okay? Because
how's the volume?
It's really loud and windy here, and he's got a microphone.
I tried to buffer the mic with this padding, so...
I don't know if you guys can tell how windy it is, or if you can hear me okay, because... He said you're going to have to talk loud, and I'm like, I don't really know any other volume. I only talk loud. I got kicked out of class all the time. Hey. Sabrina, stop talking!
So Sasha's ready to play, so
all right.
We're going to get into it here. So the first thing is just be aware that you're moving in time and space in your human reasoning. And that in the mind of God there is no time, and space is the fundamental component of the entire universe, because the space is how you get into the now, is you get into the space between all the phenomenon. And so we want to use the technology that musicians use to get themselves in timing. They use metronomes. Why do you think a metronome works? Why do you think a metronome works?
Because it's consistent.
And what else?
It keeps a beat.
And it's called rhythm. Rhythm, the rhythm of the universe. So here's the big idea. Is that human thought by reasoning is of the devil.
Sure.
Okay, now the devil, I don't mean the guy with the horns. I'm talking about human ignorance. Ignorance is the devil. All suffering on the planet is ignorance of God, good, eternal. Okay? So what we do is we set up a metronome every 4 seconds, because every 4 seconds you take human thought for your life, which is a sin. Because you avoid now, you're avoiding the now space, which means you're leaving the allness and you're going to the cloud of ignorance. Do you get this? Because all that exists is here in this moment. All. The totality of all good is right here, right now. But yet, when you go off into your mind, where are you? Past or future? And where is that? It's off time. You're off time.
You're off the metronome.
You're off time. Your music sucks. Okay?
Your music sucks.
It's out of harmony. Okay? Universe means one verse. It's out of harmony. Multiverse. Okay? So here, get this. So every 4 seconds we do this to break the continuity. 4/4 timing. There you go. Every 4 seconds, snap your fingers, okay? And then in the middle of that snap, what we're going to do is we're going to persist in knowing something that God knows to be true, that is the solution to an earthly problem that you've been contemplating. Okay? Give me an example. Anybody? Sasha, can you put something on the board, or anybody give me an example of an earthly problem that you have? Okay, you put one up on the board, and Sabrina, you give me one right now. Just give me an earthly problem.
That I'm having.
Well, that you are aware of in anybody's life in your reality.
Indecision.
Oh, okay. So, indecision, what is the truth that God knows to be true about the phenomenon of lack of clarity? You're talking about lack of clarity. What is the truth? What does God know to be true? Because there's only one mind. Is there any lack of clarity in one mind, one power, one presence, perfect order?
No.
So what you say is, I am all-knowing.
I am all-knowing.
That's the truth about God. I am all-knowing.
I am all-knowing.
So now, every 4 seconds, start to snap your fingers. Okay? Now, in the middle of that, just put your attention on the truth, I am all-knowing. Okay? Keep your attention focused on truth as the reflection of that truth, and let the power of that truth destroy the ignorance. Keep doing it. Okay, so after about 30 seconds of holding that truth, now let's do the ABC break process. Now snap your fingers. Say, it is not it.
It is not it.
Could you allow for just this moment things to be exactly as they are?
Yeah.
Could you allow even more for just this moment things to be exactly as they are?
Yeah.
Okay, go to a place of peace. Now rest in this place of peace. Rest in peace. That's right. Be dead to the world so you can be alive in spirit. You have to die to gain your life. This is how you do it. Because there is no death. This is how you die. Resting in peace. Okay. Now, I want you to go to the other side, if you will, and be in your imagination. We're going to activate the Holy Ghost here, the wholeness of spirit. In your imagination, be the person who has been decisive with clarity and all-knowing as the God expression of one mind, one power, one presence for the past 5 years. Be that person now.
Okay, hold on. Normally I close my eyes, so walking and doing this is a little bit more difficult.
It's okay. Just embody that feeling space and carry that knowledge capacity. Now again, this goes to this book here because it talks about knowledge capacity and emotional resonance. That's the secrets of the universe right there. Knowledge capacity and emotional resonance. Out of the heart come the issues of life. So now as you're in that space, every time you have a moment of doubt, I want you to snap your fingers and just reaffirm that truth. And then carry yourself in that space from this moment forward. Okay? Pray without ceasing means that you continue to emerge in the world as that solution, and you never break the continuity of the new evidence. Does that make sense? You have entered a parallel universe because you are choosing to show up in the world being something different than you were. And it takes no human will to reflect the strength of God, because it is God's word that does all of the heavy lifting. And since God is all-knowing, well then, if you get out of the way and show up as the reflection of God's all-knowing mind, wouldn't that be better?
Yeah.
That's called flow state, by the way. That's how you see people play sports and they just catch the ball, or they shoot the puck, or they do something, and it's so fast that it's actually moving faster than human reasoning can handle. That's how you have to operate if you're going to move in flow, is you have to trust. Okay?
Woo-hoo.
Fish are jumping everywhere. This is cool. So Sasha says cash flow. This is great, Sasha. So if you're doing this for money, I got a really good one for you. Follow along with me. Now, I want to make a little suggestion here. When you're done with this process, the only thing you have to do is to refuse to fear, which means to think contrary to the decision you made. To think contrary to what God knows to be true is fear. It is confusion. It is lack of trust. Those are the steps of sin. What God said is true is always true. It never changes, ever. That's the reality that is wholly separate. Now, as you occupy that separate reality, you collapse the fiction reality that's time, space, material based in your five senses. And you bring about what's called a healing or a transformation of spirit. The renewing of your mind. These things are all ways of saying it. So cash flow. Think of your problem, and as you do, notice it has a certain feeling space to it. Now what I want you to do is set up your metronome, start snapping your fingers every 4 seconds. The reason why you're doing this is you're giving your conscious mind something to do. This is the secret of all faith healing, is they distract your conscious mind and they insert a command, and that is how you can program the mind. So give your conscious mind something to do. Snap every 4 seconds, and what you're doing is you're allowing yourself to stop thinking about your problem. Now, know the truth that God's all-sufficiency, which is divine love itself, has always and will always meet every human need. Now, divine love shows up as a spiritual idea that solves a human problem. And so you don't have a money or a cash flow problem. What you have is you have an idea shortage. Now think of the word electricity and short. When a circuit shorts, what does it mean? It means that the flow or the continuity is broken. So if you have a cash flow shortage, it means the idea is being shorted out by some form of human tampering, which means you are not dead to the world and alive in spirit, but in fact you are the opposite. You are grasping onto the ideas of the world, and you are not trusting 100% in spirit to meet your everyday needs by means of spiritual sustenance. So the secret for that is the simple thing I talked about 2 weeks ago. I am surrounded by divine substance, and this divine substance manifests as a large, steady income for me now. You need to know the idea of substance means spiritual endowment. You were given the kingdom. You were given direct connection to God. You have a direct hotline. You don't need a middleman. You don't need to go to the priest and drop yourself on the knee. You don't need to do any of that. That stuff's ridiculous. You're given a direct hotline. So your statement is as follows. Before we do the technique, write this down. I am surrounded. I am, whatever follows that, is your word of God being given a direction to flow on. You're aiming your circuitry and pointing that somewhere to create in your world. That's how you are the co-creator. It's by the word that everything was created. That's where the power is. That's the flow. Whatever you say next to I am directs that flow. So I am. What's the rest of it, Sabrina? Surrounded.
Surrounded. Sorry.
By lavish substance.
By lavish substance.
And this substance.
And the substance.
Manifests. Itself. As a large, steady, dependable income for me now.
As a large, steady, dependable income for me now.
Correct. Get this?
Get this.
This is how you break the Maya. This is how you break the continuity of evidence that you have a cash flow shortage. In other words, the circuitry is blowing out in you because you have a misqualified. Now she's misqualified because she's qualified, but you have a misqualified belief that's destroying your ability, and that belief is tied to the things of this world. So we're going to just step off of that, and what I want you to do is I want you to read that statement and snap your fingers every 4 seconds and read that statement 3 times. The law of 3. Read it 3 times while you snap your fingers every 4 seconds. Now, I would recommend you do this every single day until you demonstrate the principle at work here. So, as you read that, that's your magic formula. Now, we have trademarked magic formula as an ingredient that we sell, but you can call it a magic formula. So, here's the deal. The secret is in the Word. The Word was with God, and it never came back void. Now, I'll tell you how you broke your cash flow and how you broke the circuitry is by your Word, because that's the only way you can do it. And you did it at some point, and you made a rule. And because of the rules you make in life, you are judged, and you are judged by you. Mm-hmm. So you did it. So clap your hands and say, you did it. So Enrico, yes, I will repeat this for you to write it down. I am surrounded.
I am surrounded
by lavish.
By lavish.
And you could even say rich substance.
Rich substance.
Correct. And this substance.
And the substance.
Now manifests.
Now manifests.
As a large.
As a large.
Steady.
Steady.
Dependable.
Dependable.
Income for me now.
Income for me now. And
now,
it is increasing.
Remember, just like Emile Coué discovered, okay? Emile Coué is the father of autosuggestion. And he came up with this thing that every day and every way I'm getting better and better now. The less you try to emphasize your will upon this, in other words, I am surrounded by living substance. Don't do that. Don't put human will on it, because it's not, you have to cast yourself down. It's not you that doeth the works. It is your Father in you that doeth the works. So you turn to the Father within, I am, and let the power of the Father's Word become the reality, flesh in your world.
And wouldn't you say that by adding in conjunction with this would be to give thanks or be grateful for what it is you recognize right now of your lavish abundance? Like, well, I have a cell phone, I'm grateful. As I'm saying it and I'm feeling the feeling of everything I already have.
Yes, the secret of being rich is to feel rich.
Yep.
And the secret of feeling rich is to notice how rich you are.
Anchor it in and
you are rich.
Be grateful for what you have so that you can.
You've been given the whole kingdom.
Because when you think you've got a problem, you're only looking at where the problem shows up. But when you affirm the positive opposite, you're looking at it all, and then it just attracts.
Correct. That's very good. See, it's all about the resonance in the heart. So here's an example. I'll repeat something I said a long time ago. When I would have a shortage in my business, okay, what I would do from a human perspective is I would look at the shortage and say, oh no, there's a shortage. Okay, now instead of that, wholly separate from the 5 cents dream is the life divine. I would actually turn it around and say, no, I am lavishly supplied because God's people are buying my products and services. And then I would celebrate every single dollar that came in, because now I've reversed the polarity of that whole thing. And the income would go right back up. And then you do the bold and fearless thing. You tithe. Well, you tithe and you plant seeds. And you remember that what comes through you, what comes through you is what sticks to you. What comes through you is what sticks to you. You're not trying to get anything to come to you. You're trying to get it to come through you.
It's the feeling. What does Sasha say? I can't read it.
It's the feeling, not the affirmation. No, it's the word. It's the words out of your mouth that become physical things in your world. But it's the feelings that are generating the magnetic field that surrounds you as what you perceive. You see? So you're taking the cart before the horse, is that you're perceiving things because of the feelings, and then you're adding the word on top of it. So you're being guided, or I should say misguided, by the peripheral, which is not the cause. The cause is within. See, you're letting the outer kingdom wag the dog. The tail is wagging the dog. Make sense? Now, here's the deal. Don't do this because I say to do it. Do it because you're curious whether or not this is going to influence anything in your world, but give it the fair trial run. Don't do it once. Do it for 30 days and change your entire life.
Or better yet, 33 days.
Yeah, change your life. Do you see?
Or 22 plus 11.
Look, okay, faith is the currency. So you got to have some faith. Now, here's the deal. If I said you can lose 10 pounds in a month, but you're going to have to work out every day and do a couple things differently, you would probably realize that one trip to the gym is probably not going to cut it, right? Well, when I'm telling you, when you're going to overlay a new construct over the rules that you've created previously in your former life, you're going to have to overlay through the repetitioning of the mind, or the repetitioning. That's why at the gym you pump out more reps, because you're repetitioning, and it's only mind that does everything. It's not physical whatsoever. But on the contrary to that, the physical is the spoken word. The only thing in the universe that's physical is the spoken word. So, did I cover it?
I thought that was good.
Good. So, I don't want to make this long and drawn out because I wanted to give you something to chew on. So, this is the key, is chew on it. Do it. Only if you want to change your life. If you don't want to change your life and you want to just jump around from one teaching to the next and do nothing about it, then you do that, because that's the fastest path to your joy.
And no judgment.
I don't care. It doesn't matter to me.
Be you.
I'm just here to tell you that if you want to change your life, like Bob Proctor says, you got to change your life.
Yeah.
So that means you got to...
If you keep doing what you've always done, you'll keep getting what you've always gotten.
Yeah.
And the question you need to ask yourself is...
Is it enough?
Is it enough?
Is it making you happy?
Are you happy?
You know, I realize that if I sit around and I eat junk food all day and I don't move my body, one day, it's not going to change the scope of anything I've done ever, because I've put in way too many reps. But if I do it for 30 days, I might have a little bit of a different result. And if I do it for a year, I'm probably going to be looking a lot different, right? But here's the deal. That's the same on the other side. If you do one thing to make your life incredible for one day, and you realize your life hasn't changed, well, come on now.
Well, I think majority who are watching this realize, like, making a change in your life isn't a magic wand. It's not just one time, like,
I know,
boom, it's done.
But we need reminding, though, because so many times,
need to hammer it home.
So many times, and I've done a lot of coaching throughout the years, and I've talked to a lot of people, and this is something I hear, is that, you know, hey, I tried that once. And I'm like, you tried it once. Mm-hmm. Did you try dating once and then you gave up forever because it went south? You know?
Yeah, there's a good analogy, is that when people want to lose weight and they want it to be done, like you said, in 30 days, and it's like, well, here's the question: did you gain that weight in 30 days? If you did, then 30 days you can lose all the weight you gained, very likely. But if you would like to lose all the heavy extra weight you've gained over the course of your life, think about how long you've been living and accumulating. So same with, like, cash flow problems or money flow problems,
Let's go back this way.
The different...
Let's go back this way.
The different things you could be bringing up that you might be applying this technique to, which would be, as he's hammering home, said, in the face of defeat, when you're applying maybe even this technique and you're saying, I'm not noticing a change, so, it doesn't work for me, well,
if you give it 5 minutes a day and you repeat that action, your daily habits become your destiny. If you add this in 5 minutes a day, by turning within and letting God be the truth in your life, and every man a liar, and let the good reflect itself, and you get yourself out of the way by stopping all of your human reasoning against what you just said. In other words, when you say, I'm lavish substance, surrounding myself now as I'm manifesting as a large substantial income, when you stop saying, oh, I'm screwed and all these other things.
Right.
When you stop that, that's when you'll know that you've got it licked. That's a discipline or a disciple.
Yeah, so I heard you say something I just want to reiterate, which is being mindful of the words you use.
Yep.
And how they create your reality, and paying attention to what words are you using that are creating in this circumstance, the cash flow problem. And then sometimes your definition of a positive result might not be somebody else's. So although you may not see the benefits changing, someone else who maybe hasn't seen you in a while might see you and say, wow, something's changed about you. Because sometimes when you are the holder of a problem or you're the creator of a problem, sometimes it's hard to see. Kind of like when you live with somebody and they're sick. Like when Matthew was sick, I couldn't really see how bad he was because I was there with him the whole journey. But when we'd see people who hadn't seen him in a long time, they're like, whoa, man, you look like you're dying. And I see pictures later, and now I look back at pictures, I'm like, wow, yeah, I guess you were. But anyways.
So to make it short,
sense?
We got to cut it off. But here, do the techniques and then look for the differences. And then before you go to bed, give gratitude for every small difference. And what you'll see is in 30 days, your life will be exponentially magnified to a greater degree in better scale. All right, guys.
Who's in? Everybody say I'm in if this is something you're going to be. If you're just catching on now, rewatch this once it reloads. Watch from the beginning and then just put a comment below, I'm in. And let's just get a bunch of people who are committed to making a shift in whatever category of your life you'd like to make a shift in.
All right, great.
I'm in.
Okay, love you guys.
I'm in. Bye.
Take care.